Why I love this podcast is because it's one thing to experience culture, but it's another thing to archive it. We need the stories to be told.
Our priorities say a lot about where our headspace is at.
I really think it's about relationships.
The only thing stopping anybody from getting what they want is themselves. You just don't want it bad enough.
What's up, y'all? This is David from the Hundreds, tuning in with Creative Ambiance. Thanks for listening. See y'all soon.
What's good, creatives? Welcome back to Creative Ambiance. Today, I'm joined by David Rivera, who is the creative director of the Hundreds. How you feeling today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Nice Saturday morning.
Yeah, we're in your hood. We're here right now, too.
Yeah,
you grew up in Long Beach, right?
It really is. Yeah, I went to elementary school down the street for a few years, and just when you sent me the address, I had to just take a lap real quick and just drive around just to remember.
That's crazy, bro. I love the organic nature of that. And you are somebody who is a really rare breed because you have literally started from the bottom up at one of the most important streetwear brands ever. And I think it's really rare for somebody to do that, at any company, let alone the Hundreds. So are you just like a loyal person in general, or what is it about the Hundreds that kind of keeps you around so long for the past 14 years, right?
Yeah, 14 years. I would say loyalty is kind of embedded in me. It's kind of just the way I was raised, but also, I've been there for so long because these guys have given me so much opportunity. Bobby and Ben specifically. Like, I started as an intern, and I was kind of around. I was always into fashion and clothing in high school since I was like 8, low key.
Since 8, wow.
Yeah, I was like a little kid, but that's always just kind of just built onto that. I met the guys through just being around on Rosewood at the store at that time because the brand was already a thing. The brand's older than I've been around with them. And I had a friend of mine who was like, "Yo," his name is Switch, and he's like, "Yo, we're looking for an internship. You want to come help out?" And that's how I got in as a photographer. Just e-com, just like steaming.
That's crazy. So you were originally like a fan, right?
Yeah,
of the brand.
Yeah.
And then
it spoke to me.
How special was it for you then to join it as like somebody who's actually interested in the brand?
I feel like you made it. Imagine being 18. And you've been wearing the brand for like 2 years now. You're the only one in school besides, Casey or my friend wearing the Hundreds. And seeing something special that spoke to you, I'm just like, yo, this is sick. Like, how can I be a part of this? How can I join? How can I add my 2 cents to it? And at that time, I had just gotten my first camera, and I was documenting all my friends and just talking to people. And then that led to me going to Rosewood and Fairfax more, documenting that. And I kind of just built like friendships around that. And that's kind of how I got my foot in the door.
What year was that?
2009.
2009.
10.
That was a special area, 2009.
Man, very specific time, man. You can see all the young Tyler running around. You see Dom Kennedy. It's just like when Fairfax was the golden era is what people call it.
Literally the golden era. Is it pretty crazy to think that that'll never almost happen again? I'm not gonna say never, but where things are at right now, it's kind of
not there. Definitely not there. It's been such a ghost town. Like, that's why we closed our store earlier this year intentionally, because it just wasn't necessary for us to be there. Fairfax is what was, and we were almost feeling like we were just kind of just forcing keeping our store there when there's nothing else around us. There was no community, there was no circle. There was why are we still here?
Right.
So it was more of it wasn't even a financial decision. It was just really just why are we here? Let's recalibrate, figure out our retail space, and let's just focus online and wholesale. And this is where we're at right now.
It makes sense. Yeah, it's special, very special moment in time, and it's cool that at least we got to experience it, right?
Yeah, totally, man. We were there seeing everything front row, and then you'd see it on the internet 2 days later, yo, this is cracking on Fairfax. I'm just like, damn, I was there. It's normal to us, but it's what it was,
100%. Sounds like a Netflix documentary in the waiting.
They've tried doing it a few times. I remember.
Oh, really?
Someone did an animation show on Fairfax.
No way.
But it had no cosigns from anyone in it. So everyone's just like, what is this? So it kind of never really got traction. No diss to it. I never saw it or anything, but I remember people were working on this animation, and I just never really watched it.
Oh, crazy. Yeah. Well, maybe the Hundreds will put something out.
Maybe, something. Yeah.
Cool, bro. Well, when you look back on 14 years, I guess when you were 14 years ago, that version of you, what do you think that version of you would think now, looking at you being in this position right now, leading the creative direction of the Hundreds?
Man, this is something very not cliche, but the idea of me being a young kid around the brand, And me loving this brand that much, I understood, like, I told myself one day I'm gonna run this brand.
Really?
Yeah, and I was just always like, I want to work with Bobby, I want to work with Ben, I want to work with their designers, and I want to be in the field. I want to travel and get to meet people. And like, you would see Bobby's blog, and you see everything he was like on, and who he's putting on, and where he's seeing new people and traveling. And I'm like, I want to be part of that. And so I worked my way towards that. And how do I get in? And you put the work in, you learn, you teach yourself, and make yourself worth something that to help whoever's around. And I think that was always my goal. It's just like
Okay.
trying to just get my skill game up in like every aspect that I can think that I can, benefit myself and whoever is around me. And just put all that energy towards the hundreds, and that's where it's been.
Fire. So it was actually intentional.
Oh yeah,
For you to be.
it was very intentional. I think my goal was always to be with this brand. As when I was in high school, of course, when I was a kid, I was just like, I'm gonna run this brand.
That's
My friends
crazy.
are here, everyone's cool here. Let's just why not?
Yeah.
And yeah, I put all my energy towards it. Bobby and Ben really supported me. They had a good team around. The creative director Patrick at that time kind of just like put me under his wing and just taught me everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
How important do you think it is for you to be intentional to be able to get to the place you're at right now? Like, do you think it's helped you versus you just joining and just be like, I'll see where this goes, versus like, no, I actually want to take it to this place.
Yeah.
And you've kind of like committed or almost signed like an internal contract with yourself to make yourself come to this place you're at right now.
Yeah, I think that was the goal. Is just not all brands last for so long. Right?
Yeah.
Especially in streetwear. The window's not there, and the hundreds being around for 22 years. At that time, it was only around for like 10 or 11 years. And the goal was always to make it feel like it's going to be the next American legacy brand, right? The brand used to be like a 50-year-old brand, still holding it down, still running it like a Ralph Lauren's a good example, right? He's an American brand. You got the Stussies, who's been around since like the early 90s, late 80s. Like, that's goals for everyone. You want to be here forever, right?
Yeah.
How do you add to it, and how do you keep adding momentum throughout the generations of the brand, right? The hundreds has been around 22 years. It's on its third generation already.
That's crazy.
You got kids who are 19 or 17 where the hundreds has been there their entire lives. And so to them, that brand's old or been around for so long. To us, it's like, we're still just getting started, that we're still trying new things. Like, we had a meeting with the guys this week, and we're trying to come up with new ways, to talk about the brand, and like, who are we teaching and who are we speaking to? And so it's never changing. It's always changing. Sorry. It's been fun.
It's crazy to think about that, because I feel like I see what you're saying. Like, I see teenagers that are wearing the hundreds. I see like myself that's wearing the hundreds in like my young 30s. There's people in their late 30s wearing the hundreds. So it spans like you said, 3 generations. Even like brands like Stussy, like it's the same thing. I go to pop-ups sometimes and I'll see like Gen Z, Gen Alpha there, millennials, Gen X. It's pretty crazy to see like it span across so many different types of people.
Yeah, because like, you see like kids who grew up on it back in the day are now parents or 40, 50 years old, still rocking with it, and then still putting their kids onto it now too, right? Or like, a lot that I hear is whenever I see a kid wearing the hundreds, it's like, oh, where'd you get that shirt? And they're like, oh, my older brother gave it to me. Or like, oh, my older brother used to wear it all the time, so I wear it now too. Or I get his clothes, or vintage, or like things like that, right? Like, we did a Rose Bowl pop-up last month, at the flea market in Pasadena. And we have a pretty good archive selection of what we have for the hundreds. The brand's been around for 22 years. We have pieces from like our very first season.
Oh, wow.
And we all have that just like nice boxed up in our warehouse. And we thought of the idea of showing the archive and having to show what we have and what we've done throughout the years, right? People are always asking, like, oh, I wish I had that shirt before. Like, okay, cool. Here's your chance to come get it.
Yeah.
And we did the flea market. We did a pop-up, pulled up, and there's kids in there just either seeing the brand for the very first time, never even heard of it,
Never heard of the hundreds.
never even seen the atom bomb, never even seen anything. They're just like, what is this? And then you would get to introduce them. And then you have another person, like a friend of mine, who came in, showed me a photo of when he was 8 years old for his birthday, and he bought that exact same shirt that day there at the flea market, because it was an archival piece, and he walked away with the same shirt. And just like those moments, not a lot of people can do, because the brand's been around for so long. So just leaning into our archive and showing people what we've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tastefully.
Do you take inspiration from people's stories? Not even so much like that, but just in general, like for your creative direction, do you it seems like, at least from your collections, that you like to lean into storytelling, right?
Yes. So I think the brand kind of embedded that in me, is the way they always story told, right? Just a t-shirt could be something, but if it means something deeper than that, you resonate with it a little bit more. Everything we make, every graphic, every thread, everything is built within the story of why it got made or who helped it get made. If it's a t-shirt graphic, I like to do collaborations with friends and other creatives who have a voice also, and we share platforms. The idea is sharing platforms and, making sure everyone understands why we're all doing this. Even like to the apparel that we're making, like all that goes from either from vintage or something that I used to wear. This past summer I designed our summer collection, and a button up that we have in there is like a nice little woven. It's no one really knows this. I don't think I've told the story yet, but it's in reference to my grandfather who used to wear this baby blue button up.
No way.
Similar in color to yours.
Okay.
And he would wear it, and there's like a photo of him in Mexico, just smoking a cigarette, just wearing that with like his brown khakis, and we remade that shirt.
Oh, shit.
And like it's just a good story to tell, right? And like, everything we do is intentional with like something to talk about.
There's a reason for it. It's not just aimless creation.
Literally.
I gotta imagine that gives you some sort of like passion and some sort of like commitment to what you're releasing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes it you're right, more of a commitment, but it's such a unique perspective that everyone has their own story to tell.
Yeah.
And how do you tell it? And once you're telling that story, someone else is going to relate to that, and they're like, oh yeah, that's actually a great idea. Let me reference to my own history and my own family. And like that doesn't feel so saturated in that market because your perspective and your story is so unique.
Yes.
No one else can copy that.
Yes.
So like, how does that, you can't really hate on it because it's your perspective and you're designing your history. So like once you're putting that out in the world, they're like, damn, that's a proper way to tell it. And you can't hate on it. It makes you want to wear it because it's like, oh, this means something to him. I like it too.
100%. I feel like it takes a special skill to be able to like take your story and articulate it to somebody who has no idea like what it is, and through clothing too.
And it can get hard too because there's so much going on right on the internet. So like even working with the team, we dropped our new fall collection this past week, and each graphic there's a story behind it, whether there's an archival way to identify these t-shirts or talk about our history, our childhood, things that we remember, right? So like the brand started in the early 2000s. Bobby talked about the 80s and 90s of what he grew up on. My chapter of the hundreds, which has been the past 2 years and so forth, is the history of like the late 90s and early 2000s.
Interesting.
That's my childhood. So Bobby's okay with that. He understands what a business should do to evolve is to keep pushing new generations and new things forward. And I happen to be that for him. And so he's giving me the keys to the car, and like he's like, yo, go crazy. I'm gonna be in the passenger seat, whatever you need, I got you.
It sounds like he trusts you a lot too with that vision, right?
Yeah, he does. And it's been nice to get that support from both of them, from Bobby and Ben.
Absolutely.
And just understanding that it's just a new generation. Sometimes they don't know what I'm like referencing, and I have to teach them. And that's kind of funny to me because I'm just like, oh yeah, you were in college already at this time. I'm over here in middle school rapping to like, I don't know, new Jay-Z or whatever, or something like that. And this is my generation, is just different. Like fashion was different too. Like they were probably like Bobby's like background's more punk, Ben's more like just the early 2000s like fashion. And to me as a kid, I was into like, the urban wear of like the Sean Johns, Rockawares, and like LRGs, and like that all started trickling in, and that's kind of what got me into clothing.
Crazy, because I think it takes somebody like you who lived through that to be able to tell that story, and it's very important. And then do you think it works the same way, like once we get to the 2000s and 2020s, telling those stories, like somebody who lived through that is going to be able to tell that story differently than you would through their own lens, right?
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to keep happening forever. Like imagine being in high school right now with like your phones and social media and all that. Like we don't have that.
It's hard for us to understand that world.
Yeah, and I think you say you're in your early 30s, I am too. We were a very specific generation where we learned that motion, right? Like we didn't have cell phones in middle school. High school is when it started coming in, and they're like, what's this? MySpace is cool, and then what's Twitter, what's Facebook, and all of a sudden you're just kind of like starting to like tick in your head like, oh, this is cool, this is new, but it's not in class yet, it's not in school. And now you see kids like live on Instagram in class, or doing different things. They treat social media so differently. And so I know 10 years from now, this kid coming up with some new designs is going to be inspired by being in the classroom on Instagram live or on TikTok or something, making TikTok videos. And how do you appreciate those moments for them and turn it into a language for like design or like a storytelling?
It's dope that you guys transcend with the times and are so open-minded to that, because I think there's a lot of brands and just people that could have like the old head syndrome, but like they don't want to like continue to grow with the times, but it sounds like you're embracing that, which is
Always.
awesome.
I think we've always embraced it.
Yeah.
It's really just the point. The key though for that is when you're embracing, make sure my recommendation is never get lost in it, right? Because like the brand's been around for 22 years. What we've done for 22 years has been very consistent. Everything we tell, storytelling, platform sharing, understanding a different perspective of streetwear from Europe to here to New York to LA is a worldly difference.
Yeah.
We're an LA brand. This is who we are. This is what we do. These are our stories. But also, this is a generational brand. So LA, its own, is changing daily, and so we gotta keep up with that. And how do I get that? Is just getting a good team around you, getting like the youth to back you, and just like supporting them as they support you. And that's kind of what we're trying to find.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. I want to dive deeper into your creative perspective on things, but I want to shift back towards our earlier conversation about just your tenure at the Hundreds and, you working so many different positions. I think I have it in here somewhere, like all the positions you worked, which I won't get too deep into it, but just like the amount of different roles that you've had and the experiences that you've had that led you to this point. How important is it for you to like learn these different aspects of just creative roles to be able to use them, I guess, in your arsenal right now as the creative director?
Man, it was different because when I was an intern with the Hundreds, when I first came in, the team was so big. It was massive. It was a head designer, head marketing, and they all had like 2 assistants.
Oh,
It was
wow.
like a ladder like thing. So like you didn't really get to like really see how the director actually worked, but you see the assistants of what they were putting together for them or whatever, like there'd be a head graphic designer and like 2 guys underneath them. So I was like at the lowest, right? I'm over here steaming shirts for a day. And like, that's my job,
Crazy.
And so how can I dive in and help out and, add to whatever they're doing? So I was always very vocal in the office as far as like opinions or like what I think is cool and what isn't. And luckily they didn't shut the door on me. So I kind of seen like how this person's thinking as far as designs. I was like, oh, what if you try this? Or what if you do this? And they would either just like say no or like, oh, that's actually a good idea. And they would understand the value of opinions, right?
Yeah.
And so I've worked my way through this space within the Hundreds office, and I think it's necessary to see everyone's creative process to try to tell this story. And that was embedded in me since the beginning. Like storytelling was its purpose, right? Like we'd have an editor on stand, we had a graphic designer, an apparel designer, and they're all very cohesive with storytelling on the same aspect. So like if the designer came up with an idea, they'd go to our editorial. She would know how to like digest all that design language and then make sure to write it out to make it digestible for everyone else to read. And so they had those teams like already locked in. Bobby was like the head editor at that point, and so it was his voice through everything. And so seeing all these pieces to the puzzle just made me be like, damn, this is crazy. Like this is all what it takes to just drop one thing. And so you just kind of just sit in the back, let's see how they work a little, and then see what you can add to it.
So at the beginning, it sounds like you were very observant, just learning, soaking everything in, asking a lot of questions, right?
Every once in a while, they're like, all right, chill out. Like, you're asking too many questions. But I'm curious. I'm naturally curious. That's kind of like, that's just who I am. And I think that's also why it's kind of me so far into the space, because I'm just staying curious and like seeing how you can make things better or change things up. Like, and yeah, sometimes you want to stick to what you know very well and just lock that in and become a master at
Specialist,
that craft.
yeah.
But also that becomes just such a narrow lane, right? So
Yeah.
you have to soak up from everyone, your peers, your friends. How do you bounce ideas? How do you collab someone within the office, right? So like you're dealing with so many different people on the daily, from communication to designing someone, to designing with someone, and just all these aspects, right? And I learned through that throughout the years. Like it's been crazy, but it's been fun.
Yeah, I think it's dope though, and also a very important point that you said, to stay curious and ask questions, because I think as somebody who's like a mentor or somebody who is getting asked those questions, at least to me, it shows me that you care and that you actually want to learn more about what I'm doing, what the brand is doing. It makes me want to help you out more, because I'm sure you've been in different roles and positions in your life where like you could tell that somebody doesn't really care, they're not really putting too much effort in it. You want to help the person that is asking those questions that much more, because you want to see them grow, right?
Literally. And then some people have it in them, and then they're like curious just like you. And you guys push each other that way. And when you find someone like that, you understand like, all right, this person's in it too. You can always just bounce back any ideas. You shoot them a text. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Or I saw this person do this. So you reach out to them. Like, and just having that trust within your team is very important. And I think being within the space of the hundreds throughout these years, you learn how to move within an office space because it was like there's so many, people you're dealing with, and you know who to trust and how to work. And it was just always been really nice. Luckily, the brand's known how to hire people, and so we
Okay.
just understood just who's coming in, who isn't, and it's nice.
Got you. As you've evolved throughout your time there, have you started to gain more confidence, like as you've gone on, and like how did that work for you, gaining that confidence?
Seeing some wins. You would see wins with stuff that you put out. Like you come up with an idea, you execute the idea, and then you see how it goes out to the world. And if it hits, you know it's gonna hit. And you're like, all right, let's try again. And that's how you build your confidence up because you're like, oh, I did something that people actually like, people
Yeah.
actually love. Oh, they want it again. All right, let's keep doing it. And then you kind of just feed the beast that way. And of course, there's always ways where like it's not perfect all the time. You know, as good as it all can be. Sometimes everyone messes up. No one's perfect, and that sets you down and lets you realize like, all right, cool. You're confident, you're good, but you're not perfect. So like, how do you bounce back, or how do you learn?
Learning from the L's.
That's how it is. That's how
Yeah.
it is. That's honestly the best way to learn sometimes.
That
Like,
honestly is what separates people. I saw some graphic the other day where it was just like the difference between somebody who like ends up here and somebody who ends up like, I guess, staying stagnant or just actually like declining in whatever field or whatever skill it is that when a person gets faced with whatever that like learning lesson is, they have like two choices. One of them is to like work on it and fix it, and then the other choice is just ignore it or distract yourself from it. And then it's not even so much that you do it that one time, you're gonna get faced with it again. So you have to keep making that decision to fix whatever it is that was wrong. And then that person ends up evolving. The other person just ends up either stagnant because they keep distracting themselves or staying there. So it kind of reminds me of like what you're talking about.
it's not easy. Like taking the L and just being like, damn, like, all right, how do I bounce back from this? It's really the first question you should ask yourself is, how do I bounce back? It's like understanding, I don't know, let's just say we did a t-shirt, right? And the t-shirt was dyed improperly and it was supposed to be a navy shirt, but it actually looks purple. Those are like the small L's that you take that you just kind of have to repurpose and making sure. And also at the end of the day, only you know that, right?
That's
like it's such an
true.
internal thing within your team and office. But as you're putting it out in the world, no one really knows what goes on behind the scenes. So it's how you present it. Like things like we've done in the past, like Bobby's been doing it for years. Like if we mess up on a t-shirt graphic print, all right, cool. Let's just over dye them and do a tie-dye collection behind it and just, repurpose it and making it make sense for
Yeah,
us.
absolutely.
It's part of a business.
Part of it, and also there's so many different aspects of it within the business, especially in clothing, I could imagine, right?
yeah.
Because you have the garment aspects, you have the marketing, the
The
online
marketing,
e-com.
online e-com, the way your Shopify is running. It can be the fit of your pants, the fit of your sweatshirt, literally everything. Like this should have been centered, not to the left, and then like all that stuff happens. Like that's part of it.
Do you have a hard time ever separating like your mindset at work with having to be maybe so meticulous on how things are rolled out versus your personal life? Like, are you like that in your personal life too, or do you separate them?
I think I'm pretty balanced, honestly, through both sides.
Yeah.
Like, my work is it never stops. That's just kind of are the way we built it, right? Like everything's moving so fast, you gotta keep up. In my personal life, I tend to have more of like I call my personal life like a moment of gathering. Like that's where I gather myself, whether I'm doing something personal, if it's like hanging out at the park or going to the beach and kind of just like reflecting on what the week was like and what I have the following week coming up. That's kind of how I kind of try to keep my personal and work life separate, but at the same time, everything is just so together because what I design is so personal also. So
That's
it's really
true.
hard to separate that.
Because you're taking inspiration from your personal life, right?
Yeah, so like when you're seeing that, then you just kind of infuses into its own thing. So your brain really just never shuts off. Like and it's just I don't know. It's good.
Have you learned to live with it, or is that
Yeah.
challenging?
No, I've learned to
Okay.
live with it. I think as I got older, I've created more of a balance for myself, whether it's like because I work Monday through Friday for the most part, but the weekends, you tend to run into people, you're out at events, and you're always just kind of networking. This is part of the job.
Yeah, like a lifestyle almost.
It's part of the lifestyle. And I
Yeah.
think that's what we do, and that's why we run brands like a lifestyle brand because that's what we do. And now it's just showing it to the world of what we're into and stuff, things we're like trying to design or put our minds to, and seeing how it flourishes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it's just like, oh, that's cool, and like on to the next. Like that's just how it goes.
What do you do when you get an idea for something? Like, because I know everybody has that feeling. Like anybody who's listening or watching right now, it's just like everybody knows what that feels like when you get an idea or something hits and you're just like, oh, yo, this is fire. Like, do you write it down or?
No, for the ideas that happen, sometimes it really depends, right? Because there's ideas that where you're just sitting there and just like really just in your head thinking for something and looking for something, like you're searching for it. If that happens, yeah, you write it down on my phone. I have my notes and I'm just like typing it down, and I'll follow up this weekend, or let me sit on this for a bit. And then there's sometimes where I'll just be driving, because we drive so much in LA.
Yeah.
So a lot of ideas actually come, on the road, and I'm just like, damn, that's a great idea. Da, da, da. Okay, cool. And then it'll just sit in my head, and then when I get to my desk or wherever I'm at working, I'll remember that moment and I'll try to articulate it a little bit more before I even
flesh it out.
Yeah, before I even bring it up to anyone. And then once I kind of have like those 3 points of like this idea is and how I want to present it and then how to execute it, I'll talk to my team, and then they can add their points and maybe things I'm not talking about or I'm not thinking about, and they add to those, those moments.
Got you.
It's really nice to have a team that way, because like we sit down every Monday, talk about our weekend, what we've seen, what's out there, how's everyone feeling. All right, cool. This week we have this. We want to execute this. We're working on this. And they're like, oh, what if we do it this way? And you're like, oh, great idea. Let's do it that way. And then it's just very collaborative.
I love that. Yeah. So you have some people you trust on your team.
Oh,
and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I trust everyone on my team.
Love that. Yeah. So transitioning a little bit more to like your own personal career, even before the hundreds, you mentioned that you were a photographer. Yeah. You got brought on to be a photography assistant. Where did you first get into, whether it's photography or just creative, like inspiration in general when you were growing up? What was the first like spark you had, would you say?
Rap videos.
Yeah?
As a kid. I was like 7.
Like MTV Jams?
MTV Jams, MTV2, just VH1 even, like those all those TV channels were like dropping videos. The way mainly rappers, because that's what I was listening to when I was a kid, is like rap music.
Like how young are we talking?
I was like 7.
7, okay.
7 years old, watching Jay-Z, watching Eminem at that time, and like just like those kinds of rap. Nelly, I remember Nelly for some reason. I don't know, he just stuck in my head right now. But like
he was big back then for sure.
The way they dressed, and then so I would remember being a kid. And my dad would ask me, like, what do you want for your birthday? And I was like, I want to rock and wear a denim suit. And he's like, what?
At the age of 7, 8?
Yeah. Who does that? Like, what? Like, no one asked for that as a kid. Like, you want video games or a toy or whatever. I was like, no, I want some clothes.
You want to fit.
And I wanted to fit. And I want to wear this fit on my birthday, and I wanted to feel good.
Wow.
And so ever since that, I've always been into clothing since I was a kid. Like,
okay.
Forever. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to start making my own clothes one day. I was in high school, screen printing t-shirts, like online, going on some website. You submit a design, pick a font, pick a color, screen print, and then a week later you'd get the shirt, right? And then eventually I had designed 12 shirts, and then 12, like one design, 12 tees, and I'll just give it to my friends. And I was just always kind of
so purely for sport, not even to like for profit or anything like that.
I was just trying to figure it out, just getting some ideas out. And then eventually I was like, all right, cool, let me make some shirts and sell them to some friends. And it started working. I was selling them for like $25. Like, it was nothing. I was only like 15 at that point.
Were they just designs, or were you trying to kind of build a brand too?
No, it's just designs. I had nothing. It was some word called steez at that time, and it was just like something cool and fly.
Steez was
So like that was the word, and I remember doing a shirt where it just said steez in 4 different fonts and 4 different colors to match all the shoes I was wearing. So
oh shit!
It'd be like green, red, purple, and like royal blue, and then so I could wear my Hawaiis or I could wear my California Dunks and like all that with that same T-shirt. That was always the mentality. It was like just trying to get fits off, and then I think that kind of landed into just me being creative. How do I show these fits? Let me grab a camera. So like my stepdad was around, and he was like, yo, I have this old camera, you want to use it? And it's like this old little shitty like film camera, a Minolta, and then he also had like a little point and shoot digital, and I was like, all right, let me get the digital, and I would just shoot myself in like photos just to get fits off. And eventually I started shooting my friends, and then we were in school, and I was a kid with the camera, and that's kind of just naturally just happened.
I love that.
And so I was just documenting all my friends, and just I cared about clothes that much, so I would do like lookbooks in my house and like I don't know, shit like that. Like kids weren't really focused on that back then.
Nah.
So, especially where I lived at that time. This is in Fontana.
Oh, that was the IE days.
I'm already in high school, and no one was doing that. So I'm just kind of just bringing all this to like people out there, and I'm just like, oh, this is cool. People like it. Let me keep going. And once the camera got in my hand, I started realizing I started getting infatuated with other people's stories.
Oh.
And I was just like, where are you going? What are you doing? And I would just like document them and film them or take a photo of them so they can remember that day. And I think that's kind of how it just led into photography. And I was always just documenting what was around me.
Wow.
And so that kept going, and I started shooting friends, started doing yearbook photos. I started just, just documenting. And that got me I would go to the hundreds a lot of Fairfax days. This is when I started getting a little older. I think I'm like 16 or 17 now at this time. And I would shoot Fairfax, document the manager at the store. I would document, I don't know, Tyler running up and down the hill. I would document whatever, just anything going around on Fairfax. And that's kind of how I just wanted to do photography.
Yeah.
And so my friend was like, "Yo, I have an internship open. Do you want to come start doing photo for here?" I was like, "Hell yeah!"
That was the hundreds, right?
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
100. So I was like, "This is perfect leeway into this because I'm doing."
So that
photography.
presented itself to you at the moment.
Yeah, well, but yeah, to itself to me, but at the same time, because I put the work in of being there.
Yeah,
all the
that's a
time,
good
right?
point.
And they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, this kid David's always around with a camera. Like, you want to just help him? Like, he might help you." And then, I mean, like I said, I was just steaming for like the first 2 weeks, but it goes. And then I've always wanted that. I've always had that creative like mindset. So like, all right, if I'm here for photo, how can I help out with this? How can I help out with this? Like, oh, I know some style. Like, I know some design. I can style a little. And then I would just help out with that. And then eventually it drove me to different roles within the company, but it all started with photography.
Damn, you were
I still
like,
shoot too. Like,
Really?
I think it's a lot of it. It's kind of like the attention on me is really just the creative director like point like of who I am right now. But my photography, I've never stopped. I've shot like I've shot everybody, rappers, artists, lookbooks. I've shot brands. I've done a lot of things.
is it for your own personal fun and as a hobbyist, or is this as you're still actually like getting booked for gigs and things like
I would
that?
say both.
Both? Okay.
Yeah, I would say both. I shoot a lot when I travel, just documenting. Like I said, like I like to like showing people where I'm going, what I'm seeing, but also the people I meet. But also at the same time, I do get hired every once in a while for like a shoot or for like a lookbook for a brand that needs some help. Or it's just really just like my friends around that I'm like really helping. It's like another way to help somebody else.
Word.
I can't get you a collab. That's not what you're asking for. I'll help you create your vision so the world can see it. Like, what do you need? Like, oh, I'm trying to do this shoot. I got 2 models. I'm gonna do this or that, and I'll come in and execute it for them.
Got
And
you.
that's really what I've been doing.
I'm sure it doesn't feel like work, huh? Because you love doing it. That's almost sounds like your first love, or one of your first
It is.
loves.
It is. Like, just seeing where it's taken me. Like that actually, photography got me to become the creative director at the hundreds. Like I can give photography that credit. Like that because of that is because where I'm at.
Absolutely.
And of like how to talk to people, how to understand them, how to understand someone's story, how do we document that, and then that kind of all taught me to create or to come up with this design language of everything that I'm organically already doing is getting to know you, and how do I everything all the information that we just kind of switched or like shared with each other, how do I put that into like a design and let's show everybody else what we talked about.
That's crazy.
So, like, that's-
to see to hear how your mind works with that.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're trying to show visually what you're hearing and what their history is or story is, but you're like showing it in a visual format.
Yeah.
Do you have a different type of mindset when you're approaching photography versus creative direction? I know the storytelling sounds like it's the same, but
Yeah, the storytelling's the same. Photography is different. I think photography is really just on you, on like your vision, and like having. I shoot, for the most part by myself. Like I don't really have
Okay.
like a team. I don't have like a lighting technician or anything like that. Like no assistant. Like it's just really me and whoever I'm shooting or what I'm shooting. So like I like to build that personal rapport just like while we're while we're working together, make them feel comfortable, and then just getting that process going. It's a little
Got you.
different than creative director, like for a brand, because like I'm still creative directing this whole moment right now, but like that's just for this moment and like what we're talking about and how I'm gonna show everybody through a visual, like a photo or like something like that, right?
got you.
As opposed to design on a t-shirt, it's just like everyone gets to wear it and represents that to them. With photography, people like it, they relate to it, but you can't wear it. It's just like unless you put it on a shirt, but like you can't really wear that image. It's just so people tend to like it sticks with them a little more.
Got you. Okay, thanks for sharing. I want to go back to something you were saying earlier about your upbringing and just how you got into photography and creative arts. I love how freely you were creating as you were coming up, and I wanted to point that out because I feel like, you know, kids that are that age in today's world aren't able to do that as easily, unfortunately, because they have so many pressures from like social media. And like for you back then, it's like you were just creating freely because you wanted to do this and that. You were just putting things out to see how they work. And I feel like a lot of like teenagers or just kids nowadays, they see things online and they're always comparing themselves to work that's getting put out, or they're just like, oh nah, this isn't good enough, or I'm never gonna be as good as this person. So it kind of, I feel like, stops them from moving on whatever interests or passions they have. which is unfortunate. But in your case, I love to hear like how you were able to just put things out and not really care too much about any outside noise, because there was no outside noise with all the socials and shit, right?
I think the kids nowadays, the way they're growing up and having that pressure of social media, it's really in them. Like they can either take on that pressure and hold it on their shoulders, and it makes it really hard to move forward at all. So I think even in the new generation, with having all that pressure of social media, you still should not care that much about what everyone is saying. If you have your idea and it's that you feel that strongly about it, no one should push you to do anything else because you feel that strong about it. And then it still keeps happening. Yeah, with social media, even as an adult, it still affects you as much as a kid does when it comes to put art out. Like someone's gonna shit on it. The comments are going crazy. Like I think that's something that I'm getting better at, is kind of ignoring the comments of what people are saying, because at the end of the day, some guy from the middle of nowhere is talking shit on something that they have no idea what they're talking about. Why does that matter?
That must be really challenging, because I'd assume as a brand you want to take feedback from obviously your consumers, but at the same time, like you said, some people are just talking shit to talk shit.
Yeah, there's differences between that. There's people who are giving you a critique on your design and letting you know that this should have been this way or it should have been done better. Like, yeah, okay, cool, thank you for that. But then some guys like, oh, this shit is whack.
Yeah.
Why is it whack? Why is it whack to you? Because it is. Okay, cool, thanks. Like,
You can't even explain why.
No, on to the next person. I don't need to spend my time on that. And that's just, you have to know, as you're seeing these comments come in, you know what to flush out and you know what to actually like read. You know, there's a lot of bullshit on there, but also a lot of people who actually still do care about it, and those are the people you listen to.
Facts.
I think as you get older and understanding how this comment section works and everyone's voice, everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
I'll keep seeing it this week, Denzel saying everyone's an opinionaire, which I think is amazing to say, because like it's true. Everyone can sit somewhere, talk their shit, and think no one else is gonna like say anything behind it. But like, that's not true, bro. Like everything being said is being recorded. Someone's gonna go back to it, and that's just how it goes. And I don't know.
It's part of the job.
It's part of the job. It's how you take that information. If you're gonna put it out in the world, everyone else has an opinion now.
Yeah.
Back then, like you said, there was no opinions at you directly, and you just gotta learn how to just keep doing you. If you feel so strongly about something, keep it pushing.
That's a good point. And in today's online world too, back then it's like if you had to say something, you had to say it to somebody's face.
Yeah.
Now
yeah.
you don't have
Write
to
me
do
like-
that.
Write me an email or something, or if you catch me slipping, talk to me about it. But like now it's just like a comment, just I don't like it. Okay, cool. Why don't you like it? Like I said, look, they have no real reason.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Keep it pushing. Next time.
Did it used to affect you more when you were younger? Never did.
I don't think it really did. Also, I think just the way I moved, I don't know, internal. I just knew I was always trying to do the best thing, like trying to put the best foot forward with anything I do. Like I try to do it because I feel it's right. So if someone shits on it, then that's just their opinion. But I don't take it personal.
Okay.
Like, I just can't. You have to have thick skin, especially if you want to be in a space like
True.
like this. Being the creative director of a brand, anything the brand does correlates to Bobby Band or myself, right? Like right now, it's just like, oh, that's kind of weird, and they're like, oh, that's Bobby doing it, or is that David doing it, or is that Ben doing it? Like, no, it's all of us. We all agreed to do this. Like, and
Yeah.
it's okay. It's fine. That's part of it.
You all got each other's back too,
Yeah, we're all back
probably.
to his back. That's just how it goes. Like,
And for the most part, I feel like if you look at like 100 comments, for example, like it's probably like 90 of them are good, and then there's always like 10, 15 that are.
yeah, and that's why you just know, just like, all right, just go ahead, bro, do your thing. And I think from in streetwear, where it all started was like the hypebeast comments, right? Like it was such a trend back then. Whatever hypebeast posted, everyone in the comments is fighting about it. That eventually bled to social media. That eventually led to everything you go now you watch a cool TikTok video, and the first thing you do as soon as you watch the video is you go into the comments and see what everyone else is saying, because there's jokes in there. Like it's just
so unserious.
so unserious. Exactly. So you're just like, why do I care about these comments? Everyone's just there just to talk shit anyway.
Yeah.
That's just
desensitized to it almost, right?
You kind of have to, because it could take a toll on you.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's healthy for anyone.
Nah, I don't think so either. For a brand like the Hundreds being like a heritage brand, like how do you address staying relevant amongst all of the generations? Because I know you mentioned that's something that is a factor with the Hundreds. So how do you do that as the creative director?
Man, there's so many. It's hard. It's really actually that's probably our hardest thing is.
It's a unique thing to address that not many brands have to. I feel like.
Yeah, because everyone's changed the platform, the playing field. All of this that we used to know is constantly evolving, constantly changing. So how do you keep up with that? There's new ways to talk about your brand. There's new people to talk to now because of social media has such a different outreach, right? Like back then, streetwear was such a pocket that if you're in streetwear, you love fashion, you love Complex Magazine, you love blogs, Nike Talk, sneakers. That was a specific person. Now with social media, you're talking to people who have no knowledge or sense of history of what all of this took to get there. So how do I talk to this person? This person only digests new information through TikTok. This person digests only new information through Substack, or this person only digests through his brother, whatever they're telling them. Like, so how do you? For our jobs is to stay in, I guess, the term relevant, because I think we know ourselves very well, but we also need to make sure these next kids are also understanding who we are and the depth of the brand, right? We've been around for 22 years. Our TikTok has been worked on this past year. We emphasize a lot more on that through social media, just because that's where people are taking their social media, right? Like nowadays. And so how do I repurpose everything we've built for 22 years just for TikTok? Do I storytell? Do I become a platform to storytell for other creatives?
Yeah.
Are we showing love? So the 100's always been a lifestyle brand, right? So like our TikTok has been just putting people on to something they might not know, whether it's a food that we go eat, whether it's a coffee shop we go check out, whether it's this photographer, this artist. And that's how I'm emphasizing TikTok right now. It's just teaching people who the brand is. And I think that can keep you going with relevance as far as like who's digesting your brand stories through this platform, this new platform.
Yeah.
And I think that's our job. Like there's brands who don't need it. There's brands who don't do it. Our brand's always been for the people. It's always been very personal with us and very open door like concept. Like you guys need anything, we'll teach you. This is come to us for that, and this is who we are. And I think we don't shy away from that.
Yeah.
And so that's been like our role right now as like the big brother always. Can kind of just say, oh, you want to print shirts? Oh, here's a screen print shop that you can go to, or here's this that you can go to, or this is how we did it. Maybe you should do it that way. And like that's how you, and then keep passing just game.
Not gatekeeping.
Yeah, not gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Doors open. You pass all your knowledge down. I think the generation prior to me was always very much so like, oh, those are young kids, like keep them a little away. This is how we do it, and this is how it's gonna be done. I'm the opposite. I'm just like, oh, that's how you do it. Oh, that's tight. Come this way, I'll show you how I do it, and we collaborate and create some whole new formula on accident just by talking shit.
Yeah.
And that I think works a lot now because the collaborative effort and just having like-minded people wanting to be better at something or wanting to like become successful at something, everyone's on the same page there. So like this is how we grow, this is how we do new things, or the new way of streetwear, the new way of storytelling, and that's how you kind of stay relevant. Try to stay relevant.
Yeah, I love that formula. And I think I read somewhere, which ties into this kind of, is that like an article or some said about you that your transparency is like an important thing for you. Why is transparency so important for you?
Honestly, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
Very transparent. Like everything. I try not to hold any like secrets or like that. Like, yeah, of course, just stuff that you just don't tell anyone. But
right.
The transparency goes a long way. People want to be heard. People want to be helped. Like everyone is looking to grow within themselves in the space, right? If you want to do that, then if you have any questions, come talk to me. If I have answers, cool. If I don't, I'll show you someone who might, and I'll introduce you to them. And that's kind of how I've always moved. Even in high school, since I was a kid, I was always a curious kid, and I was always just an open book. Like if you have a question, I'll answer you just honestly. I'll be truthful. Like there's no reason to do another thing, right? And so with seeing these new kids curious to seeing how to run a brand, how to do the 100s, or how to run streetwear, just teach.
Yeah.
Show game, tell everyone how you do it, and they might apply it to something else differently. And it's just really just being transparent.
One of the parts I like about with you, at least, and I feel like I've noticed as we've been talking today, is that you seem like your delivery of that is very like gracious and very I don't know, even keel, because I think some people use like being transparent, and if they're like very blunt and aggressive as just like, I'm just being honest, and aggressive. But the delivery I think is important too, because you're delivering it in a way that's like digestible and doesn't feel like it's coming off in an aggressive way.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just showing you how to do it. Like that's really how I'm showing you how I did it, and this is what I did, and I'm teaching. Like my transparency comes from lessons that I've learned. Or at least from my opinions, right? So if someone's coming to me like, yo, how do I do this? Oh, I did this, and this. I took these steps to get there. Maybe you skipped this step and that's why it's not happening for you. Maybe try this or stuff like that. It's not like, no, you're doing it fucking wrong. You're an idiot. Go somewhere else with that. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
The transparency for me, or being the honest, brutal thing. Yeah, sometimes you kind of have to be to like a friend of yours that can hold that weight of like that language, right? Because it's not easy to hear shit like that. But it's just how you do it. It's delivery. You're right.
Yeah. And I'm sure you, as like the creative director in your position right now, you have to treat people differently because some people respond differently to different styles of communications, right?
And it's a big part of the role is really how you speak with people, like to everyone. Like there'd be days where I come home and I'm like, damn, I spoke to like 72 people.
Fuck.
And like, wow, this is
Yeah.
crazy. And I'm like going through my text, and each conversation is a different tone, different way of talking. And a lot of that is people managing, and how to come across your ideas and still being strong with your ideas and making other people accept it, or for them to understand where I'm coming from at every level.
Right.
So talking to other creative directors, to talking to other owners, to talking to licensed people, talking to up and coming photographers. Everyone's in a different part of their lives, and how do you manage the same tone and still being truthful to, like, being honest with yourself with everyone at the same time, right? Which I think I'm pretty good at. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just myself everywhere I go. I just know I have to understand what room I'm in and how to talk to certain people, because at the end of the day, you know that if you're in a room full of creative directors, most people in that room probably already know how to do what you do, right?
Facts.
From their own perspective. And so what do you talk about with them? Like, how do you like come up with a conversation? If you're in a room of like I don't know, I'm at a bar with a bunch of our friends and there's different levels of people in there, just a mixed crowd, and you know how to talk to those people.
Yeah.
Just try to understand them, ask questions. So it's really just staying curious and like seeing where their head's at, and they're like, oh, okay, cool, that's interesting. I didn't even think about it that way. And it's just naturally just happening.
Being aware of the room, reading the room.
Very, very aware. I think that's kind of a very what's the word I was looking for? It's a skill that you need, but it's very overlooked. Being self-aware, being aware of your surroundings. Like some people can be in there and just like, do you not like, this is how you should move in a room like this. Like you need to know that, and that's basic knowledge. But some folks just be like, nah, I got it. I should be in this room. Like, okay, cool. It doesn't work like that for everyone, but whatever works for you.
Like,
you can only do so much.
Like almost like the room should change for me versus exactly.
Not personally though, but I know some people it works for them. And
Yeah.
that's just all right, cool, to each his own. But I like to be aware of who's in here, how I should be moving, and just always aware.
Yeah, I'm sure that plays a huge role in your position now.
Yeah.
If you could shift into like the mentor hat right now, for those that maybe have their own brand, they're starting their own brands, they're in fashion, they're designing, what is the David Rivera like 101 of how to kind of launch a collection, or just like what's your mindset into releasing a collection or capsule when you're approaching it, at least?
The storytelling goes back to that.
Just storytelling.
So I think my thing is, what are you trying to tell people in your designs and your product? What are you going to show someone? Is this new? Is this personal? Why does it matter so much to you? So like, if it's important to you, and you can show that importance of how it is to you, when you're putting it out there, everyone's going to see that, and everyone's going to want to be a part of that, or everyone's going to be trying to support you for that reason, or they see what you're doing and they're like, oh my gosh, that is genius. I would love to do it my way. And then that just sparks something in them.
So the first step is asking yourself those questions.
Yeah. So asking like, so for example, like we came up with the collection for fall, came out this past week. We designed it maybe a year and a half ago, probably a year ago. At that point, we were going through our history of our archives. A lot of stuff that I'm doing right now is going back to our roots of the brand, right? So like to start a collection, I'm actually going backwards in time. So like the brand right now has been around for 22 years. And I'm gonna come up with a collection now, I want to talk to multiple generations. I want to talk of the hundreds of what it was, where it is right now, and where it's going. So that's kind of how everything I'm designing is happening. So I call this collection a dialogue between eras.
Ooh,
So
I like that.
this right here is a conversation of what graphics and designs look like now, with the mindset of doing the research of the early the hundreds. So a lot of the early the hundreds graphics that we grew up loving, I've repurposed a few of those to redesign to fit in the time of now. So like there's this graphic that we did where the Reaper, it was like this design we did, and it was only this small in like 2012. 2025, the graphic is that big.
Oh wow.
New colorways, we added some text to it, but it's still the same graphic from 15 years ago, but it's repurposed now into a new model.
Interesting.
And so I'm like filtering that through generations of like
Yeah.
dialogue of like what it was and what is. And so that's the storytelling aspect. So when you're saying like the David Rivera process, it's really just storytelling, man. Like the perspective you have, no one knows what you know. And so how do you flesh that out and just tell it to everybody, present it to everyone, right? Like that's my like David Rivera 101.
Okay, I like it. It almost reminds me of like, for example, like when Disney like takes one of the old like maybe Lilo Stitch movies and remakes it for today's era, or just them doing that in a lot of different forms.
And I think it's funny because like when it comes to a lot of that, most people in this world don't like change, right? That's
Yes.
kind of where it is. Everyone wants to keep it everyone likes what they know until they see something new that they actually love even more. This new Lilo and Stitch movie, this movie came out in like early 2000s, right? We grew up watching it and seeing the live version of this, like, oh, this movie's sick, but some people are gonna hate it because they don't want to see it live.
The old one's better.
Lilo doesn't look like that, or Stitch doesn't look like that. Like it's okay. It's a different time. Like you have to be okay with that. Be okay with change.
Yeah.
And even with brands, like they change. Brands change, and some of the stuff like the logos stay the same. Like everything remains like the logo you'll see forever, but the way it's applied, the way it's designed, the way it's used, all that keeps like updating.
Yeah.
And that's just how it goes.
I think it plays well too in the theory that you mentioned, the dialogue between eras, because it actually opens up a dialogue where people are actually having dialogue with each other about, oh, I like maybe the old logo better, I like this one better, and then like the exact conversation that we're having, well, you have to stay open-minded, but oh no, like we should stay OG. Like it opens another dialogue.
It's a whole different conversation, man. And that's really what a lot of brands struggle with right now too, right? Like streetwear is such in a weird space right now, the way it was to the golden era that we were talking about earlier. So right now everyone is trying new things. Everyone's trying new ways to get their word out there, to get their designs out there. And I think this is a good way to do it. Like just go back in your history books and like see what worked then. How do you repurpose that now? How do you make it look digestible? How do you talk about it again? And for this new kid who has no idea of the history, teach them something new. They might be like, oh, this is sick. You guys are like knowledgeable about this t-shirt design. I love that. Or sometimes people just want some cool shit on the shirt.
Yeah. It could be that easy.
Yeah, it could be
That's
that
simple.
easy. Yeah, like sometimes like the design goes right over their head. They just like the way it looks, and cool, I'll rock with that too.
That's so funny. It's like Kendrick verses, right? Or Kendrick song. It's just like, it sounds good, but then also if you dig into it,
There's bars in there.
there's stories
exactly.
to be unlocked. Okay. Transition a little bit to you and what influences you. So I know that you're the child of an immigrant family. So how does that play a role in just the way you move and just how that's impacted you as just a creative in general, and then also just as a person?
Man, being a child of an immigrant, for me, has taught me work ethic, like to a T.
Yeah.
Your parents put all that hustle in when you're a kid, and you're realizing they got 2 jobs, 3 jobs, not really understanding either as a kid. You're just like, damn, why are you never home? Or like, why are you always working? And just seeing that, you're like, oh, I kind of want to be like that. I want to build my own business. My mom had her own business growing up. My dad worked for like he was like an engineer, like a computer engineer.
Okay.
So he was always like big on computers. So he would always come home and be like, oh, look at this new app I'm working on. It's like Microsoft Paint or some shit like that. And I'm just like working on like, damn, this is sick. And
That was the Photoshop
learned
before.
Photoshop. Yeah. I started printing like shirts with my name on it with Tasmanian Devil that I would just grab off the internet and just put a what is it, like the iron-on graphics, and just put it on t-shirt. My dad taught me that.
Oh, no way.
Like, I'm a little ass kid, and we would do that when we would go like, I don't know, just like family shit. We'd wear like the same colored t-shirts and everyone has their own name on there. Like I would help do that for the family just because I kind of wanted to do that. And my dad would teach me computer stuff. And so them teaching me like the work ethic, or the staying the curious of like new technology constantly being happening in your life, that kind of like I took that and ran with it. Like the awareness of in your rooms of where you're at, always having just to be aware. I think my mom kind of put that on me unintentionally. That's it was. And then the work ethic was big on me, and then loyalty, that helped me a lot. Just understanding who your real friends are and who's around and why they're around, and just who to lean in on a little bit more. That's been very clear as a kid.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of helped me like in my personal life grow within me and within my career, also just keep maintaining those like notable points that my parents taught me.
Yeah, it is just in a different format for you than they're doing.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what their job is, right? Like they come from a different country here, put that work in, lead by example, and then hopefully you can take the few of those points and you put it in your own perspective, in your own way, and then you flourish in your own story.
100%.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what they embedded in me.
And it's one thing I feel like to be told game, and another thing to actually see it firsthand, the hard work being done, and that instilling you and today how hardworking you are with what you do.
And I think it's I don't know, I admire it. My mom still puts in a lot of work, and
Still.
so just seeing it, and so does my dad, and just seeing that, and just like, why would I stop? Like, why would
Yeah.
like I'm not even close to where I'd like to be at, you know? Like, this is me just getting started, and yeah, it feels good. It's seeing everything they've taught you, just even unintentionally, right? Like,
Yeah.
kind of just by like just that's just who they are, and it just sticks with you.
Yeah. Nobody works harder than the Latina community, bro. It's a fact.
That's facts, yeah.
Do you think that Latino or Latina creatives are like undervalued or overlooked at times?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that to anybody. I think Latino and Latino communities right now, there's a lot of energy behind us, good and bad.
Yeah.
There's new voices coming out on the daily with everything that's going on, especially here in LA, or like with in the States, with like all these immigrants raids and the ICE
Yeah.
that's happening. So like when the times get like this, very tough and dark, this is usually when the people get most creative, right? So like how are Latinos right now flourishing is because they're sharing their voices even louder than ever. They're all on megaphones, not literal, but like they're speaking more, they're speaking out more, they're creating new events, new moments for us to try to like support each other. So right now, I think as a Latino, we have the platform to speak up on anything right now, and it's people are listening to us. Unfortunately,
Facts.
it's through a bad perspective, through a bad reason because of what's going on, but it still pushes new creatives to talk their shit and to speak their piece and
True.
do that. Or as a designer, you put that on a T-shirt and then you sell it and then you donate and you support your people. And like, how do you do that over and over and over again?
Yeah.
And it can get a little I don't know, not the word like muffled. They can get a little like distorted sometimes too, because there's some people who are not there for the right reasons. So then you have
Yeah.
to, again, being aware of what you're supporting and how you're supporting, all that still matters. Not everyone's in it for the same thing you are.
It's true.
So
People want to capitalize off moments sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not that. Most of the time it's not that. It's just so you have to learn what you support and don't support.
Yeah.
But I think right now the platform is strong and we talking our shit and it's there. Like people are getting support. I'm seeing a lot of my peers getting better opportunities for like working, designing, photography, just being the right people in those rooms, and that's
Fire.
needed. That's needed.
Yeah, and I think when you look at just like the LA creative space or even the whole country, it's just like a lot of the culture is derived from immigrants and creatives that are creating things from their, immigrant backgrounds or just the way that they grew up in their upbringing. And when you look at that, I feel like it's sad to see that in some situations, like there may be like a David Rivera out there that might not get his chance to make his footprint, and do things at the level that you're doing it now. So like, does that ever cross your mind to like think about where the state of things are at right now, that, there's going to be situations where kids or creatives that are coming up aren't going to get their chance?
Yeah, I mean, that's another challenge to deal with that I think I didn't deal with back in my time when I was up and coming, right? When I was growing up. So I think those are new challenges that these kids are dealing with now. But again, times have changed and the platforms are changing with the way you're speaking on stuff. So as much as hard as it is now, it was also just as hard back then. It's just different elements that you're dealing with. I think right now it's just more in your face.
Yeah.
The way the world is and the way social media is ran, it's all just in front of your face. But it's been going on for years, bro.
That's
like,
true.
It's a lot of this has been going on since before we were born. It's just now with social, it's in your face. I'm not supposed to go on stories and see an outfit pick and then I swipe and then there's someone dying and then I swipe and then there's a raid going and I swipe. Like, you don't digest things like that back then. You never did.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
like, I think about that now. It can discourage you or it can light a fire in you to say something or do something about it. Whether it's you going in and volunteering, whether you want to get something creative off your chest. And I think as much as harder it is, but there's also more fuel for you to build on now.
That's a great point. Yeah, it's interesting duality with the way things
The
are.
reality of all this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking at a new sneaker drop while you're looking at something in Gaza, or you're looking at something over here.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know, just it's crazy.
It does something to you.
It does
when
something to you,
say
like,
it. You gotta learn how to digest it almost.
It's almost like exactly. Learning how to digest it, learning that it's happening, understanding that it's been happening, understanding that it's much bigger than you. You can never be. What is the quote? You're never bigger than the program.
Yeah.
It's like that's what it is. That's a real thing. And like the program is the way the whole world's moving, the whole world's spinning. You're just a little bit like that of the entire thing. So like it's how you digest it. It's how you make it clear that you understand what's going on, but you still need to put this out because I feel the need to.
Yeah.
Making sure people understand. Also, there's weird like moments where you can do something, but also be very politically, or sorry, tone deaf with certain
Yeah.
things, right? And so like seeing stuff like that happen, it's unfortunate because you don't see what's really happening, or like I don't know, like yeah,
brands
I can give you examples, but I'd rather
No,
not.
I know. Yeah. I think of like some that are really big happening right now, and some at a smaller level, micro level. Yeah, it's definitely happening. And it's crazy to think about. Just like it is true what you're saying, that although there's more challenging aspects that we just talked about, there's even more, I guess, avenues for people like that are maybe lower level creators to share or express themselves through mediums, or even like independent or smaller media publications that are able to kind of share their own stories and journal things in their own way. That wasn't really possible before. So like you said, it unlocks new avenues now that wasn't available. So
I think people have more access now to like to get something across. Like if you want to start a publication company or something, you become the guy who wants to create a platform, a magazine, whether it's digital or physical. You can do that now. The tools have been there. The tools are now easier for you to achieve that, right? Like there's apps where you can just throw in the certain images that it'll make the book for you. You know, like there's elements like of that stuff that you didn't have back then. So there is a million more smaller businesses of doing the same stuff. It's just how do they change up their perspective and their story to make it just well known, right? Like Complex magazine was once a small ass magazine, right? It was all tiny at once before, but look how big it is now, or whatever it is. It could be that you could be the next Complex right now. You may not even know it. You can be the next Joe Rogan right now. You may not even know it. Like you like maybe that's an example, but like
but
you know, like someone podcast like that you just gotta put the work in, start small, know what you're talking about, be very aware of who you are and what pocket you fit in, and how do you amplify that for it to work. Like I'm seeing a lot of people right now on social media. Everyone's their own brand right now. Everyone is their own content creator, their own social influencer, their own designer. How do you know what to pick? How do you know what to support? How do you stand out from everybody else? And that's just kind of what I've been seeing right now.
Yeah, and I think it's important to consider the reason why you're getting into it, because that, for me at least, has transition or translated into like longevity. Because I think if I was in this for like money, for example, like that hadn't come for like 4 years, right? And I think if I was in it for that reason, or fame or clout or something, then I would have fizzled out because it didn't come. And it's just like, what's the point of me continuing to do this? So
I have passion.
Yeah.
And that's some real shit. Like passion goes further than everything, man. Because like if you're in it for passion and you would genuinely want to build with people and talk to people and share our stories on your platform, you can do this shit all day, forever.
Yeah.
Because you care about it. Like if people are here, you're trying to do this just to monetize it, you can see that right away too, and you'll understand.
From the audience, you could see that, right? Yeah.
And then you're just like, all right, cool, that's nice, but like I'm good on that. And just on to the next thing. And so how do you make sure you plant your flag and what you're doing is important? And I think what you're doing right now is just, you know, you're also reaching out to all these creatives who aren't at their biggest yet, who are still building, which is a very pivotal moment in their careers. That post this interview, 2-3 years from now, we're all in a whole different world, different space, and you saw it early, or you understood what it's like to talk to someone else on the platform. So same what you're doing is how I think about for the brand, right?
Okay.
You got this kid up and coming artist, local painter or whatever, like, oh, let's work together, let's figure something out, let me tell your story to our platform, and then we share that, and that's how you build each other up.
Just in a different way. Yeah, thanks for sharing, bro. That means a lot. I'm definitely taking the words you're saying right now and like learning from it. And to add on to it, it's like, for me, I'm actually talking to people that I'm genuinely interested in hearing about, and like have a passion for what you're doing. Like it inspires me so much. So it's not just like I'm having people on because of X, Y, and Z. It's just like I actually really want to talk to this person and like so gain from them. And I know that like there's a community and a platform that I have that like is hungry to hear things like this too, and it helps them. And to me, that's the biggest thing for me, is just like hearing that people get things from and value from, like, oh, maybe, you know, I was starting off a brand and I heard, you know, David say this, and I ended up doing it, and now I'm doing this, and I'm doing collabing with such and such, I'm releasing collections. It's like, yo, that's the payment right there. That is impacting people above all. Is like, to me, the dopest thing that you could do is influence somebody to like do something great for themselves, you know?
Yeah, everywhere can do it. That's the thing. Anybody can do it if you just stick to it and really passionate about something, man. And no one's gonna tell you no. I mean, people are gonna be there and telling you no, but you ain't gonna listen to them.
Yeah.
And you know what you believe in. You know what you got to do. Put that work in. Hustle.
Were your parents always supportive of you, like going into this career? Because I know sometimes immigrant families, like they like want you to have a stability, like, you know.
No, they always did.
That's fire.
They always did. My parents always understood. It was a little hard sometimes at the beginning because, like, it's funny when I started at the hundreds at my young age, I was already designing. Like, I was designing headwear and accessories at this point. My mom still thought I was packing boxes in the warehouse.
Oh, she did?
Yeah,
She had no idea?
That was her assumption of just like, you work at a streetwear brand? Oh, you must work at the warehouse. And so when I told her, I was like, what? No, look. And I kind of like had to run her down my job of what I do. She was like, oh, you're making this? I was like, yeah.
Oh, no way.
And then she was like, oh shit, it's really real. Like, you really turned this into a job. You've been doing this since fucking middle school and high school, and now you're getting paid to do it. I was like, yeah, that's the whole point. And then she was like, okay, yeah, keep going, do your thing.
Oh,
like,
that's
they
fire.
were supportive. And my dad's always been like a very tech guy, so he sees me still shooting and all that, and like, that hypes him up. I shot a portrait of him, and he like loves it that I'm still photographing people. And
Yeah.
understanding that, and like they've instilled that into me. And
That's fire.
It's benefited them too, like that they did that to me.
That must they must be very proud of you.
I hope so.
Would you say?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They've gotten to see you transition into the person you are today, and I can imagine.
And they've been around. I invite them to things. They come to events, or if I do like a photo show or something like that, they'll pop by and support. You know, that's my family.
I think it's really important to hear that they've been supportive of, you know, you, and I'm sure that's fueled you and allowed you to be maybe free in pursuing this at least.
Yeah, I think that made me feel okay to do this. Like, I'm not like I shouldn't be doing this because I have other things to deal with.
Yeah.
But go ahead, go crazy, do your thing. We trust you. Just don't be a fucking idiot. And that's on me to do. Right, that's my job.
I love to hear that.
As a son, to like making sure it was worth for them to move out here. And it's funny because I don't really normally think about it that much like that, because it's so, I think that's just who I am and so normal to me. But like when you put it in that perspective, like yeah, I am making them proud because they moved out here for a better life, and whether they're doing it, which they are, now my life is better too because of them and the situation they put me in.
Yeah.
And so now let me just make it worth it.
It's almost
for all of us.
Yeah, for sure. It's almost like reassurance for them. Like, no, we came here for the right reason, and you're like the final boss in that scenario, or it's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, you're doing it, bro. You're doing it. I love where this conversation is going, and I want to transition into like more. I guess if there's a young fashion designer out there, or just a young brand entrepreneur, and you had one piece of advice to give to them, what would you give to them?
Just keep it pushing. Just keep going, man. Keep going. I think everyone is so worried about everyone's opinions and perspectives. It gets hard for you to even take a step forward because a lot of people be so much into their heads of what is the right way to do something. There is no right way. Everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own growth. Everyone has their own road to their own success. It's really what you want and what you want to make of it. Just stick to it. Don't listen to anyone kind of discouraging you. That should fuel you. It's around. You'll see it. And then you'll meet the right people who actually kind of level you up, and you become so grateful for that. So building that right team, that right circle is very important at an early position in your career, and to seeing who's around you and how to help each other out. That's, I think, very important. So like I would say your circle is just as important as much as your ideas and your passion for something. Having that support system will make you go so much further.
Okay, so going far together versus doing it alone.
Facts. I think that's very much needed because like one person could be a designer, an entrepreneur, the owner of everything, but at the end of the day, they can't scale up, they can't produce anything, they can't do customer service, they can't deal with anything without a proper team.
That's true. You could only be so great at so many things.
You need a great team with you, man. And then you're only what's this old quote? You're only as good as your team.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing. Like I played sports my entire life.
Oh, for real?
Like understanding that mentality of picking your brothers up or picking whoever next to you up, like that goes a long way outside, off the field, off the court, whatever you play. Put all that mindset into a career, and whatever you're doing, it works. It really does. Like you can always tell too, like when you're working with someone, if they played sports when they were younger or not, just by the way they are as team players or how they work with other people, because you can tell if they ever had to help someone or ever had to jump in for someone, and that's, you can tell.
Yeah,
you can tell right away.
You really can. I agree with that. I played sports too, and I 100% teaches you how to be part of a team.
Yeah, man, it really does, and that also helps you with like different perspectives. Like understanding different folk, we're all like, I used to play football and I was a lineman, right? So if I'm a lineman, there's 5 of us on the line. We all think and see things differently, but I have to make sure as a center to make sure we're all on the same page. And that's
Yeah.
always been my role. And like anywhere I go, like kind of just been that. Just like making sure everyone next to me is aligned and we're all taking the same step forward in the same direction.
You're playing center for the hundreds, bro. Basically,
Shit, look, I'm quarterback now.
that's true. You're calling the plays. You're calling the plays.
But it's been good.
I love to hear it, bro. Do you have a similar thing when you look back at maybe old collections or like
Oh my gosh,
old
yes.
work that you did? Where you're just
all the
like,
time. Like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's practice. Like, you're in the gym, you're shooting, you're doing your thing, and you're only getting better with what if you keep doing what you're doing, right? So
yeah,
you study yourself from like the early on days. You're also learning daily, right? You're
Yep.
like, more knowledgeable now. You understand yourself more as a person. How do you talk? You're even the way you move in front of a camera. Like, I'm still fairly new to being in front of a camera, but I'm pretty comfortable with
you
myself.
seem very comfortable. Yeah.
Some people within interviews, you can see their first interview to like the newest interview, they've changed a lot. Even how they speak, their dialect, how they just describe something, paint a picture, like all that gets better. It's even for you as a part, like as
Yeah.
in this position, like you know what kind of questions to jump into, you know how to lead a whole conversation, all that probably you've learned even more throughout doing all this, right?
100%.
So that's just for everybody.
Yeah, that's how it plays into anybody what they're doing. Yeah.
Just keep going, just keep doing it. Like practice in the gym is the thing. It's a real thing. Like people just, oh, this overnight success shit is not very rare. It's not sustainable, man. Put that work in. We've been doing this shit for 10 plus years, and it shows.
Yeah.
You know.
The repetition is for sure.
It's facts.
And I hope that in like another 4 or 5 years, I'm embarrassed of like what I'm doing now because I've I've
Now you're
gone
talking
further.
to someone like really like crazy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're talking to Nego or some shit. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh fuck.
Hey Nego, if somebody's listening and you got to tap in with Nego, I need to have him on.
Have a translator in person, you know. Do her thing.
That's facts. I do need the translator, like sitting side by side.
Yeah.
No, but I agree with that 100%, and I think that that's part of growing is just like seeing where you're coming from, and also I've learned to just like not be like embarrassed of where I used to be. But for transitioning back to for you, looking back at or seeing where you're at right now, rather, how do you stay inspired like outside of work? Like how do you continue to, I guess, because we all go through like roadblocks creatively, you know what I mean? So if you're in like a roadblock and you're, not in a place where you're not inspired, what do you do to get yourself back to your flow?
Looking for new experiences is big on me.
Okay.
For example, like understanding a new feeling that you've never felt before, seeing something new you've never seen before. Traveling helps a lot. I know a lot of people aren't able to travel as much or can as like that's like a luxury nowadays. But
Yeah.
it really does do that for you, man. Meeting someone from a different part of the world or seeing a different perspective, just trying new stuff, remaining curious on anything.
Okay.
And then also I'm big on films. I love movies, and so a lot of it is there's so many movies that exist in the world that you've never even heard of or seen, and just seeing new worlds or
Yeah.
for someone to create something so specific, it inspires you to be like, damn, what if you created something so specific, and how do you like touch base on that to make it flourish for something digestible through your design language, right? So like a lot of movies I'm inspired by for like creative lookbooks or visuals that we're doing, that's inspired by this movie or da da da. Like that's kind of how I've gained my inspiration from, whether it's just that or like shit, I don't know, go to Italy for the first time. I've never been. I went earlier this year, got to see the Vatican, got to see old paintings older than like most of the United States, you know, like seeing all that. And how do you apply those old stories and old folk tales into like now, which are very relevant still, you know, like a lot of backstabbing happens, a lot of murder, a lot of this, a lot of that, like just like so much things that still happen now. And how do you like, all right, this is crazy that's happening. Let me try to take some inspiration from this and put it into our design language.
Okay.
And my job is to funnel anything that I'm experiencing through the hundreds perspective or through my design language and making it digestible for everyone, whether it's traveling, doing new things. I went skydiving 2 weeks ago. First time ever. That was sick.
Oh, crazy. I'm scared of that. I can't do it.
It's not natural for a human perspective to be falling out of the sky.
It's not.
So when I saw that, I was just like, this is sick. Like you don't ever get to see. I feel like, you're just falling from the sky at a very fast pace, but it seems so calm and still in the air. So seeing that, I'm just like, damn, this isn't normal. This is an experience. Me and my friend went to go do it. and we both walked out feeling rejuvenated. Like, yo, let's go to work. Like, let's do something that we've never done before.
So it
makes you
sparked
feel-
something.
It sparked something in you. Like, bro, we just did something we weren't supposed to do. Like, let's do it again. And how do you channel that energy through like what you do?
Yeah. It's like, oh, I just jumped out of a plane. I could roll out this collection. It's
I can
nothing.
do it right now. I can do it all right now. You know, it just gives
Yeah.
you something, and I think that goes a long way. Like experiences is a thing.
Okay.
So like whether it's a new sport I've never played, whether it's me being in the ocean, like I love swimming, being out, feeling small is something that's it's kind of inspiring to me. Like seeing how big everything is, like being in the ocean, being in the mountains, being like this. Those moments makes you just think like, all right, what we're doing is only this big as opposed to what you really think it is.
Yeah.
If you keep it that way, then it's your language stays strong and consistent.
Got you. Do you think that with all the experiences, like you're just living through them, or do you ever go in intentionally like, yo, I need to be inspired, I'm gonna go do this, or can you not do it that way for creative inspiration? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've done multiple things. I feel like there's moments where I'm just like, let me go to this thing that I was invited to, this event or this dinner, and that's an experience that you're looking to build out. Like you're looking to get something out of. That's okay. That's normal.
Yeah.
That's fine with that. You're going there for something to try to get something out of that. But then there's other things where shit just happens and you're like, boom, it just clicked. Oh, wait, I could have just applied this to this instead. And that's just, it happens both ways.
Got you. Okay.
It goes both ways. I try to keep it more organic and just kind of let it come to me. And then how I'm feeling, what story I want to tell, how I'm feeling today, what the mood is like for this past month, what I'm talking about, how is it going to hit a year later.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it too, because like as designers, we work on stuff that is happening tomorrow, that's happening next week, but that's happening next year. And you're working on multi calendars all year round, right? And so you have to understand as a creative director, whatever you're voicing and whatever you want to put out, how is it going to hit a year from now, or how is it going to hit 2 months from now? Is it still the topic of conversation? Is it so? Those are kinds of risk that you put out there while you're trying to tell your story and your language, because it might not hit the same 3 years from now.
Right.
It's like movies, right? We were talking about like old movies with a friend of mine yesterday, and like movies from the early 2000s, how a lot of those don't sit good now because the jokes are crazy, or
Yeah.
you get canceled for
Like,
a lot
yo,
of
I
that
can't
shit.
believe-
I can't believe they okayed this.
Out of pocket.
Exactly. So like as a designer, you also have to think that way.
That's
too. Like,
true.
a year from now, how is this jacket gonna fit? Is people are still wearing baggy pants, or are people still wearing more fitted pants now? It's little things like that that you have to just ask yourself. Normally not out loud, but it's just to yourself. It's like, all right, how's everything moving? How's the trends moving? How's streetwear moving? What do you have to worry about for you to stay in your space?
That's an interesting dynamic. I never really thought about that. Like, how will something live on?
Yeah, I mean, everything you make, you should think of as putting it out there. It's gonna be out there forever.
That's
Especially with
true.
the internet, right? Everyone can archive or research the history of who you are. Or like, it's so shitty sometimes because
Yeah.
people can like be famous now, and someone's gonna pull something out from when they were in high school that they said some fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
Now they're getting canceled 30 years from now. You're like, what the hell? But
Like, they forgot about that.
yeah, even they forgot about that, but that's just maybe don't be a shitty person ever. But like
Yeah.
also it's different times. It's like
true.
it's hard to change with those times, and some people don't care. They just want to see you just get knocked down a little, and just it's how you move. So like everything I put out, I try to have been like, all right, 10 years from now, it's gonna be fire, or it's gonna look nice vintage, or like you think of like future vintage.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna make this sweatshirt in 10 years from now is gonna be faded, ripped, torn, it's gonna look great. And that's just how you have to think.
Yeah. It's almost like, I guess, looking at everything from a timeless aspect.
Yeah.
How timeless is this piece going to be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've been doing with the hundreds, with the brand, or with who I am. Like I try to do everything that once I leave my stamp, it can be there forever.
Legacy.
Yeah, legacy. Whether it's like a story that I'm telling, or a garment that I'm making, or helping out someone that they'll forever remember. Like all that is built on that. It'll be there forever. Whether it was that first step y'all took, the example you showed, just all that, man. It really matters.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could leave behind like one philosophy to creatives, I know you've mentioned a few different like theories, but like what's one philosophy you would leave behind if you had control over that?
So many coming up to me like just, but they're like all so cliche, right? Like everyone's just like, yeah, you just got to do it. Like that's like the philosophy. But know yourself,
Know yourself. I like
Know
that.
yourself. I'm gonna go with that one. Just know yourself. I think I'm very understanding of who I am, and that's given me the confidence of moving any room I can be in. I know who I am. So if you understand who you are as a creative and as a person, there's no one that can stop you because you're you. Everyone's so unique in their own ways. You grew up different than everybody else. You grew up in a different household. Your parents aren't everyone else's parents. What you're into, not everyone else is into. Just
Yeah.
know yourself and you'll be fine. Cause like nothing else is gonna really affect you because that's who you are.
That's
Like,
true.
that's what do you want me to do? Change myself for this? I'm not changing myself. I know what I like. I know what I'm into. I know what I want to show people. I know what my platform is and how I can get people to like either, be inspired by it or make them spark something to try to do something themselves, or they can come to me and be like, yo, you should probably do it this way. Like, yeah, I'm open to all that because I know myself and that's very important.
It's like your superpower. And then
Yeah,
I feel like when you do that also, all the things we were talking about earlier, like negative comments, somebody like bringing something up from the past, like it probably doesn't phase you as much because you know who you are.
Yeah.
And
You've grown. Like if you're gonna bring something up from back in the past, like, all right, cool. Thank you for bringing that up. I've grown this much since then. Thank you. Or just me understanding stuff that I'm into, or the music that I listen to, what referencing, and all that. It's your perspective. Yes, sometimes with the internet being so heavy and mixed in now, people are sharing similar ideas to you. But at the end of the day, it's who you are. I think that's very important, and especially in the design world and the space that I'm at, like everyone is so unique, and I think that's why they're who they are because they're so damn unique and they're so one of one, and they know who themselves are. They're comfortable wherever they're at, and you just kind of have that. You have to wear it. You have to understand everywhere you go. Like I know who I am. I don't got to change for anybody. Like that's just who I am.
I love that. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Throw that on a tee. Know yourself. I love that aspect or that philosophy. I guess forward thinking for you, both you and the hundreds, like what's next for you? What are you looking forward to? And then similarly for the hundreds, what do you have planned for the hundreds moving forward?
Let's start off with the hundreds. I think for the hundreds moving forward, the brand is 22 years this year. This year has been an interesting year as far as like where the brand is. The hundreds is such a heavy name in streetwear, right? I think everyone understands that we're a legacy brand. So we're trying to show everyone why we're a legacy brand. So that's what I've been doing this year is understanding how everyone sees us as far as like the OG company, but also like we're OGs, but we're also still here and we're still relevant.
Yeah.
So like, let me show you what we do and how we do it now, so you guys can understand that we're just in the conversation that everyone else is, not just like the what was brand, right? So like that's big on us for the brand. This year we have a few collaborations that we haven't ever done before in the past. That I think can feel like it puts a stamp in a new, like, oh damn, 22 years strong. Love to see that. And that's what I'm working on right now. You'll start seeing the rollouts later this year to next year, and you'll start feeling it like, oh shit, this is what David was talking about.
Okay.
For me personally, man, I'm just getting started.
I love that.
I've been with the brand 14 years, but this is just it's a stepping stone to something else. I don't honestly can't tell you where I'm going, but I know that feels like this is part of my story. And I think being here with the hundreds has only shown me what I can do and my limitations, but it also shows Bobby and Ben of what they do, when they trust people within their space. So I think on a personal level, I am learning everything I can, getting every tool, and I'm sure I'll apply it to something that's much bigger than everything else here.
Yeah,
That's the goal.
That's great. I mean, if you look at the past 14 years, what you've been able to do, and then just the version of yourself that you're right now, like, I don't know how much longer you're gonna be doing things, but even just imagine another 30 years.
Yeah,
like the ceiling is
It's easy.
easy.
knock it
I love that.
It's easy being myself. I should say that it's not easy the work, but like that's part of the job. That's part of work. It's like nothing, shit changes in the world, right? So you deal with things that you can't control, and you just gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it is. But as long as you stay true to yourself through all of this, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you're not complacent too, because I think a lot of people's dream would to be, just a creative director for, a big brand, but let alone the hundreds. And the fact that you're still, have an appetite to do so much more.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not just happy with like, I made it and this is where I'm at. It's
Nah,
like
man,
great to hear.
We gonna make films. We gonna make clothing. We gonna be all over it. We gonna be everywhere. You gonna see it.
Fire. I love to hear it. Well, we'll end on that, David. I appreciate you for the conversation. This was amazing. I'm gonna listen back for sure and be taking notes and apply a lot of it to my own career and the things that I'm doing. And I'm sure people listening are gonna be doing the same, bro. So
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
absolutely. Well, from Creative Ambiance, this is Levi. David checking out. We'll catch you next time. David, appreciate you, bro. Peace.